For page 59, continued, I've stuck in a sheet from when I explain my ideas to a student for feedback. My response for question 9, where I told her I would have liked to extend the garden, the size of the Zen garden. My preferred idea, if I could at the college, I'd make one where it could have been in the corner, or if I had a good enough recycling wood, it might have been like somewhere where it's an arm long, quite big, so I can put quite a lot of stuff in there, which might have eliminated the fox mask completely and focused more onto this Zen garden. However, take away the effect it has on recycling by buying more wire or anything. Though the other idea was actually making a corner in the garden where it would actually be quite big of a Zen garden and then take some photos. However, I didn't do this as the main goal was to recycle, and also I didn't want to change my idea of making a portable Zen garden, because then I wouldn't be able to bring it in and show at the college. Also, I did a few more texts which is online, talking about more about my ideas. But in this piece, I've actually, in my previous idea, I thought of covering the eye hole with something like similar to how people have coloured sunglasses lens, but I thought of using different ways of doing it. I had some acetate that people use as covers for books to protect it, which wasn't effective because I couldn't see through the actual eye hole clear enough. In this piece I used a whiteboard marker, which is shown in this image as well, twice. I've done this one on some spare acetate again on two sides, couldn't see through it, so I chose to do it one side. However, it kept rubbing off, and also you can see the marks of the pen as well, which wasn't quite effective, I found, so I left it. I eliminated the idea completely. However, I drawed out my fox ears, and when doing this I transferred it over to my foam blocks, cut strips or lightly without all the way through, and then bent each side so then it would make the curve, which will be on the mask and in my images. As you can see, I've extended my pages also, which helps me further relate to my leaving it scattered and buy more sketchbooks, which I cannot get access to. In these images you can see where I've drawn out the mask and also covered the eye hole, as I designed my own little eye hole of what size, what style I wanted, and I tried to also make it levelled, which was very difficult as well, as I couldn't actually get a ruler and make sure it was all straight because it was a curved face and my tape measure wouldn't make it as clear, so I had to just judge from if I thought, for my opinion, if it was straight or not. I drawed out a design of what I wanted on my mask for definite. I drawed out this symbol, I drawed bells on each ear, I even doodled a few more ideas of what I could draw on the mask. As for the insides, I can paint a little face where it's got the nostrils and a tear, showing the human side inside the mask, as the outside is fox, which could be changed, could stay the same, not sure yet. In these pieces I've taken photos of my development from when I used a little bit of plastic to show how I've made the curve mark, and also in this piece you can see where I started the mob rock on the mask, how it's already moulded out. As for that, I started to also measure my eye in different ways, so then I knew how big the eye had to be, and also the distance between each eye, which helped quite a lot when making the mask, and of how close they needed to be drawn on the mask as well. I've also drawn a few ideas onto some scrap paper, which then are drawn onto tissue paper, because tissue paper is flexible as fabric. As for paper, it won't bend as easily as tissue, to make sure it fits properly before putting on the mask. If I didn't do this, where I test it onto tissue paper and put on my eyes, then I wouldn't be able to see through the holes, as on these tests they're too close to my actual eyes, where I can't barely see from where they're touching the nose. I've done a few more until I was comfortable on which one I chose, where I'm making them even more distance, making a few stars, but these two were too sharp where they're pointed up, making it so I could only see through these bubbles of a space. Though this style I changed from being pointed up to being levelled flat, because then I could see more clearer. Which then, after that, I moulded my piece, removed it from the mask after it's finished, which actually caused quite of a problem when I began to mould the snout, as I had to make a paper mould and then stick it to the actual mask. Once I coated the whole mask surface, so I covered the whole thing up to the line, and then I stuck it on the paper mould. So then the paper mould wouldn't have to be ripped off from the inside, and there wouldn't be a big gap of the snout. Doing this actually makes it human inside, the human shape, so then it fits really comfortable now. However, I can't breathe through the nose unless I make some holes, which I won't do. It just means I have to breathe through my mouth, which this mask is made for that, entirely to breathe through the mouth anyway. But yeah, when I masked the snout, I had to do 3 layers. I had to also make really thick lumps to go around it, so then the snout could just level into the face like an actual fox, which are in these images, where it just starts to level in at the top and on the sides, which my piece was meant to do in the first place, which I believe has worked successfully. In this drawing, I've done some measurements. I measured out how big I want the snout by looking at a mirror. I drawed out the size of the mask, roughly, on how it was, and how it was going to change, where you can see the original size of the mask and how thick it will be inside. It does have a small area because of the paper mould, but it was filled up all around by folding so much mod rock. This used almost 2 rolls as well, because I had to try and add so much in between both sides of the snout from top and bottom, so then it wouldn't crumble away. Thankfully it didn't crumble. But in these images I've put next to each other the same angles from prototype to the final piece, where you can see the front and you see the front in this piece, showing the difference. Well, it's a nice little small round point, and then you can see, well, it looks the same, but the ears are nice and different, showing great more care into the work than the actual prototype. And this one, you can see the difference, where it looks small like a dog, and then this one comes out more similar to a fox, as their snouts come out pointier. As for this, from the prototype, it was all messy because I didn't put too much care into it, as it was just a rough concept to see if it would work, which did. And then I made sure all of it was nice and smooth as much as I could, and made sure it was all nice and clean. I've got a few more photos that I stuck in where I zoomed into ornaments that I could have made for my piece and idea, which I am considering on images of ribbon and tassels that I could add in, and some more accessories, which in this photo I've actually added in my final piece images, showing that I've added the bells and ornaments, showing the little symbols that I actually made from that symbolic to me, such as uniform symbols and even some clubs that I've been to, and even seasons such as snowflakes and even a crescent moon on the side, to show how foxes are nocturnal, which they are. As if put in a sun, it'll be just a circle and it'd take away the actual attraction. I've also put some eyelashes on the mask as well, because it has to link to my identity, which I'm a female, which is why I done it.